watching Let's Chat.
All right, checking in with Coach Maurice and my best me this morning. Of course, lots of new information always coming your way. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Jess.
All right, today we are talking about new risk factors for type 2 diabetes. This is some new research that's came about. Fill us in.
Yeah, and I know it seems like we're always discussing diabetes, but it is one of the biggest issues nationally regarding healthcare and the side effect of diabetes. But the latest I thought was really, really interesting. Besides just the known facts about the early stages of diabetes, we've discussed A1C, we've discussed fasting glucose, but there's other side factors that may alarm you to check with your doctor. For example, if you have blurry vision developing while you're driving, and you're overweight and you haven't been active, check with your doctor. If you're thirsty all the time and you can't get enough water, those are early signs of possible type 2 diabetes developing, so check with your doctor. But the latest research, this is really alarming, is insomnia, and which happens to a lot of us, Jess. They said people living with conditions are 17% more likely to develop type 2 diabetes than without. So going to bed between 9 and 11 p.m. and getting up between 5 and 7 a.m. is a key, and being consistent 365 days a year with that, including weekends, will help in that area. But insomnia is the latest regarding type 2 diabetes.
Wow, who would have thought that, a lack of sleep, I mean, we know that sleep, or a lack of sleep there, has a lot of medical implements, but who would have thought it could be this serious and a sign of something as well?
Yeah, and I think the number one reason in today's society having so much problems with insomnia, it's not just the COVID-19 and stress of life, but we know all the gadgets, the computers, the phones. And what happens is if we don't shut everything off at a specific time and get in bed and get a book and start reading and dim the lights, very difficult to go to sleep. And if you miss that window, you're liable to stay up many hours past the right time to go to bed. So you got to put that phone aside, turn off your TV, turn off your computer, dim the lights, get in bed, read a book, and I promise you within 30 minutes you'll fall asleep in most cases.
And I want to talk about how anxiety ties into this. I know that for several people who suffer from anxiety disorders, a lack of sleep is pretty common because they're awake, they're worrying, they're thinking about stuff. They can't shut their mind off. How did those two go hand in hand?
Yeah, this is really alarming, and I put this on our Facebook at Bridge to Health and Wellness Facebook as well, because anxiety is such a rampant thing. I think it affects as much as 249 million people worldwide right now. What they're finding is, number one, anxiety medication targets the nervous system. The latest study is showing something else, and that is to have your thyroid gland checked. They're saying an inflamed thyroid gland could affect your T3 and T4 hormones. For example, the T3 and the T4 hormones affect your adrenaline, which is known as the fight or flight hormone, right? The sudden burst of energy. But the other one, dopamine, is the brain's pleasure and reward hormone. So they're saying if your thyroid gland is inflamed, that could be the reason why anxiety is at its high peak. While doctors are looking at the nervous system, they're saying check your thyroid. That could help tremendously. I thought this was really, the timing is great. To your point, Jess, with all the stress going on in our society, this is really good news. So check with your doctor.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of viewers may have been experiencing some new symptoms or feeling a new type of way, especially with this year and the way that it has progressed as well. And you mentioned on the anxiety, you mentioned to have the thyroid checked. That may be a big issue. I want to touch on the medication side. Anxiety medication, while proven to be effective in some regards, it may not be the best option permanently, and another reason why we need to have the rest of our health checked out.
Absolutely, 100%. Anxiety and depression are the two symptoms that are not really medically diagnosed. In a sense, they're not drawing blood, they're not checking for certain things. It's mostly regarding the SQ&A, and based on the person's answers, we medicate. And a lot of times we may not be hitting the target properly. So always, look for the right expert in that field, like Dr. Amen from the Amen Clinic can deal better with depression than most psychiatrists. You can Google them. And when it comes to anxiety, check your thyroid glands. That could help.
All right, again, and you touched on how our thyroid glands lead into that as well. And again, the importance of getting sleep. One more time, what do we need to do to be able to get that good night's rest?
Yeah, good night is take a shower late in the evening, shut everything off, your phone, your computers, dim the lights, get in bed, get a fun book to read, and just read, and hopefully that will help you fall asleep. Be consistent 7 days a week, 365 days a year. That is one key factor to help prevent insomnia.
All right, perfect. Coach Maurice, thanks so much for joining us, always bringing us the best information and the best tips as well. Put the devices away and wind down for bedtime. We'll be right back on Let's Chat.